What's up, Space Pirates? I am your captain, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster, and today we get to have at least one more laugh at the expense of the most unlikable actor playing the most uninteresting superhero imaginable, Brie Larson and Captain Marvel. It seems that Disney has decided to throw in the towel and end the theatrical run of the Marvels, as they are no longer going to be reporting the weekend grosses of the film. We scallywags on this channel, however, will happily report on their box office failures. In this video, we will look at what the Marvel's box office ended at. We will dig into their decision to pull the plug on the film in the theaters, and we will look at what this all means for the future of the MCU.
You guys are so screwed now!
So prepare your laughing face and rev your hilarity engine up to ludicrous speed, because the clowns behind the MCU deserve the entirety of our mockery.
No fair!
Alright, me hearties, make sure you hit the like button on this video to help defeat the evil algorithm monster, and also, if you're on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, make sure you follow me on there. I'm at Dr. Disaster 1. Now that I've got all that out of the way, let's take a look at the box office summary of the Marvels, courtesy of Box Office Mojo. This absolute catastrophe of a film looks to have ended its theatrical run at less than $200 million gross. Now, it's possible that over the next few weeks this number goes up as the film remains open in select theaters, but if it does cross that $200 million threshold, it will limp across a finish line that I would have guessed they'd bypass easily as recently as like a month ago. I guess trying to replace Iron Man with Captain Marvel was a really asinine idea, wasn't it, Kevin Feige? One of the most charismatic actors playing one of the most memorable and badass characters, i.e. Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man, cannot be readily replaced by Captain RBF. If we zoom in on the domestic gross of the 3 days from this past weekend, we can see why Marvel probably decided it was a good idea to tap out on this film. Between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the movie raked in less than $3 million. Let's dig into their decision a little deeper, however. This article is from the excellent website That Park Place. It says, Disney throws in the towel for the Marvels. Says, we will stop weekend reporting of international global grosses on this title. The Walt Disney Company and Marvel Studios have officially given up on the Brie Larson-led The Marvels film at the box office. Variety reports that the company sent out a memo to certain press outlets announcing, with The Marvels box office now winding down, we will stop weekend reporting of international global grosses on this title. The announcement comes after the film only grossed $2.5 million in its fourth weekend at the domestic box office. According to The Numbers, the film only grossed $80.7 million domestically and $116.3 million internationally, for a global gross of $197 million globally. Those numbers make the film the worst grossing Marvel Cinematic Universe entry in history. The previous worst performing film was 2008's The Incredible Hulk. It grossed $265.5 million without adjusting for inflation. Just for comparison's sake, The Incredible Hulk grossed $4.8 million in its fourth weekend. The film would be in theaters for 12 weeks. It was released in June and stayed in the box office until August. And for full context, so that y'all can understand the gravity of this situation, The Incredible Hulk was released 15 years ago, when movie tickets were a little over $7, according to thenumbers.com, link in the description. Movie tickets now are a little over $10.50 on average, a roughly 50% increase. And the Marvels still got wrecked. This reminds me of the One Ring from The Lord of the Rings. Marvel thought they could wield it, and at first it made them powerful, with movies like Captain Marvel breaking $1 billion at the box office. But soon after, the woke hipsters, or wokesters as I like to call them, moved on to the next big thing and abandoned the MCU. Kevin Feige and crew remind me of this guy now.
Precious!
When you stop and think about it, all the doofuses at the MCU can really do now is keep plodding forward with their woke ideology, despite the fact that it is clearly costing them money. Once again, if we use the Gollum analogy, they have no choice but to laser focus on what they've been obsessed with because they are now tainted. There's no going back. Fans like us who have left them will not return until a new leader with a new direction in the MCU is announced. That means Bob Iger has to leave, Kevin Feige has to leave, and the MCU will have to be rebooted or something. And I'm not sure any of those things are on the table anytime soon. In fact, on the contrary, it seems that the Marvel bigwigs are dispelling some of the hopes that people have pinned the revival of the MCU on. Rumors of Robert Downey Jr. reprising his role as Iron Man, which, of course, anything is possible in a multiverse with infinite versions of each character, but anyhow, it seems Feige is throwing a wet blanket on that possibility. This article is from Bounding Into Comics. The headline says, Kevin Feige sets the record straight, says Robert Downey Jr. will never reprise the role of Iron Man in the MCU. Marvel Studios honcho Kevin Feige has shut down any rumors surrounding the return of Robert Downey Jr. to the MCU, making it very clear that the actor will never reprise the role of Tony Stark in future cinematic projects. In a Vanity Fair cover story that focuses on Downey Jr.'s career trajectory, Feige specifically stated that bringing back Iron Man following the events of Avengers Endgame, which concluded with Tony Stark making the ultimate sacrifice to save the universe, would be a disservice to the character. And for once I actually agree with Kevin Feige, but then they should never have injected this multiverse crap into their story in the first place. It creates this weird space where actions have no true consequences. This may work for a show like Rick and Morty, but the writers of the MCU are nowhere near sophisticated or clever enough to make this concept work in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So once again, where does this leave the MCU? What do they do to try to jumpstart their franchise? The rumors had been swirling for a while that Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans as Captain America would return to the big screen one more time to renew fan interest. It wouldn't surprise me if this rumor originated with Disney in the first place as a bit of a way to put their toes in the water and test it out. That is something that companies like Disney do on the frequent. They feed some reporter with a little bit of news, with a tidbit that the reporter or the journalist or whatever you want to call them will throw out on a platform like X, and they gauge what the public's reaction is. But I think that Disney is realizing that nothing will save the MCU. Nothing will return it to its glory days. The only way to get those of us who have left to return is by unwokifying the franchise. But that would cost them the few serious fans that they gained by going woke in the first place. You know, the imaginary crowd who didn't turn out for the Marvels because this is a largely male-oriented space, and many gals prefer movies like Barbie, which obviously did well in theaters. But beyond losing a few fans by de-woking their MCU, there's something else that de-woking the MCU would cost the higher-ups at Disney. It would cost them their pride. You see, their identity is tied to this progressive BS. It doesn't matter that what they're progressing toward is the edge of a cliff. They haven't thought that far ahead, and they all know they're equipped personally with parachutes to survive such a fall. All that matters to them is their pride is on the line, and I believe they only see one path ahead. They will plow forward mindlessly with characters like Captain RBF, Monica What's-Her-Face, and Ms. Marvel with no questions asked, and they are doomed because of it. The MCU has hit the iceberg. Our best course of action, as former fans, is to mock them roundly until they finally give in and give us what we want, which will likely mean firing the decision makers behind this woke nonsense. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of